Tonight, an abusive husband who murdered his wife in a knife attack is jailed for at least 21 years. Mother of three, Naso Isaac's husband killed her after accusing her of having an affair.
This was a brutal and violent attack using a knife against your wife, who was utterly defenceless. You murdered her in her own home. This was a despicable act.
Also on tonight's programme, the new Drugalyzer test designed to catch drug drivers. The family of one of Scotland's oldest women says her local council is grasping at straws to provide her with care.
Coming up in the sport, 4 teams are heading for Hampden as the League Cup takes centre stage for the semi-finals this weekend.
My banjo skeletons, they were also £200. I've got interactive witches, they were £450. There's a lot of decorations that cost a lot of money, but the impact's worth it.
And the cost and the joy of going all out at Halloween. I'm Laura Goodwin and this is Reporting Scotland. An abusive husband who murdered his wife in a violent knife attack after accusing her of having an affair has been jailed for at least 21 years. Mom Patty Dodo Isaacs stabbed mother of three, Naso Isaacs, at their home in North Berwick on New Year's Day last year. At the High Court in Edinburgh, Judge Lady Ross told Isaacs his actions were deliberate and wicked. Hope Webb reports.
Naso Isaacs was a support care worker and a mother of three. Originally from Botswana, she'd moved to Scotland before the pandemic. And in the lead up to her death, Isaacs believed Naso had been having an affair with a colleague. On the night of the brutal attack, he'd been drinking and armed himself with a knife before he stabbed Naso 9 times on the head and neck. In September, a jury found him guilty of her murder, despite his claim of diminished responsibility. Isaacs appeared via video link from HMP Edinburgh today due to his ill health. He bowed his head and appeared to wipe away tears as Judge Lady Ross read out her sentencing comments. Isaac's lawyer says he does recognise the profound impact his actions have had, but is still at a loss as to why he committed the crime. But Judge Lady Ross said Naso's murder was violent, brutal and deliberate and sentenced him to 21 years in prison.
Your actions were deliberate and they were wicked. You have told others that at the time you wanted to kill yourself, but the awful reality is that you killed Naso.
During evidence, it was alleged that Isaacs controlled Naso's income, tracked her mobile phone and sent her abusive text messages during their relationship. The court also heard evidence that in Botswana, Isaacs threw a box of beer at her, slapped her and kicked her.
It's an absolute tragedy. It's the loss of the life of a young woman who's the mum to 3 children. What we have to remember is that this man chose to act in the way that he did. He deliberately chose to control and abuse and assault her over a prolonged period of time. This was a sustained campaign of abuse.
Isaacs will not automatically be released after he serves his 21-year minimum sentence. A parole board will have to be satisfied he no longer poses a risk to the public. Hope Webb, Reporting Scotland.
A 21-year-old Dundee man who phoned in repeated bomb threats to Kirkwall Airport in Orkney has been jailed for 4 years. Ross Buchan forced the closure of the airport in January this year after telling a staff member, "Airplane goes boom." Buchan had also previously admitted 2 separate charges of indecent communications to a 15-year-old boy, as well as threatening and abusive behaviour. Graham Ogston was in court.
Dundee Sheriff Court was told that about 9 o'clock in the morning on the 4th of January this year, the duty operator at Kirkwall Airport received a number of calls from what she described as a young monotone Scottish voice, which was subsequently identified as Ross Buchan. On one of these calls, Buchan told the operator, "Boom, airplane goes boom." On subsequent calls to the airport, he said that a scheduled Glasgow to Kirkwall flight was going to crash into the airport and that he had a friend on board the plane who could push a button. He also made calls where he declared up the Kremlin and for the motherland. The court was told that Kirkwall Airport security didn't believe that these were credible threats, but the airport overruled this advice and contacted the authorities. As a result, the airport was closed for more than 3 hours and all the luggage on the Glasgow to Kirkwall flight was rescanned. The calls were later traced to Ross Buchan's phone at his Dundee home. He admitted making the calls and also admitted 2 charges of indecent communications to a 15-year-old boy and threatening and abusive behaviour. Sheriff George Way jailed Buchan for a total of 4 years, 2 years for the bomb threats and 2 years on the other charges. Buchan will also be supervised for a further 2 years on his release from jail.
Graham Ogston reporting there. Quickfire roadside testing kits are now being used by police officers in 2 parts of Scotland in a move to tackle the increasing problem of drug driving. Dubbed Drugalyzers, the test is already used by specialist traffic officers across the country. They've now been rolled out to local police teams in North Aberdeenshire and East Ayrshire, following a successful pilot in Shetland. Louise Hosey reports.
If they're driving really slow, it potentially gives us indication that they're potentially under the influence. They might be drowsy and quite slumped over at the wheel.
It's 1 p.m. and these officers are out on the streets of Fraserburgh. When it comes to catching drug drivers, they've got a new tool in their armoury, a quickfire roadside test that can rapidly identify the presence of certain substances.
The drug wipe test works by taking a mouth swab from the driver. The results are back within just a few minutes and it can detect the presence of cannabis and cocaine. If the test is positive, then the driver will be taken back to the station for a blood test.
45 minutes in and no stops have been made.
Yes, yes.
Then suddenly it changes.
The officers have just identified a car that's come under suspicion, so they're going to pull it over and go and speak to them.
With the car stopped, the officers talk to the driver and then administer the test. In this case, the driver's test was negative, but figures show a worrying rise in drug driving offences.
We've seen a huge increase. We nearly had 3,000 last year detected across Scotland. In some areas, including our own, have seen a huge increase, up to 60% increase in drug driving offences over the last 3 years. So we're just looking to target these areas with the local police and colleagues assisting with the drug driving detection.
The Scottish Police Authority's Forensic Services, which analyse the samples, say significantly more testing will need to be done due to the rise in cases.
We know we need to grow our ability to be able to do that testing by somewhere in the region of 7 to 8 times more than what we currently do is what we believe to be required to really tackle this problem and to have the available testing to support Police Scotland.
The project in North Aberdeenshire and East Ayrshire will run until the end of March 2026. If successful, it's hoped it may be rolled out nationwide. Louise Hosey, reporting Scotland, Fraserburgh.
Some of the day's other stories now. A 26-year-old man has been arrested after a woman was found dead in a flat in Dundee. Emergency services were called to a fire at the property in the city's Byron Street at around 7:25 this morning. The fire was extinguished and the body of a 37-year-old woman was found. Her family's been informed. More than 1,200 patients have now been affected by an ongoing issue with a sterilising machine at Aberdeen Royal Infirmary. NHS Grampian says efforts are continuing to fix the central decontamination unit, which cleans surgical tools, and has again apologised to patients for cancelled surgeries and dental appointments. The American ambassador to the UK has held talks with the Scottish Secretary about whisky tariffs as part of a visit to Edinburgh. Warren Stevens met with Douglas Alexander this morning, with whisky and energy the 2 main topics of discussion. UK trade negotiators are expected to continue talks in Washington next week. The family of a 107-year-old woman says a council is grasping at straws to provide her with care. Isa Martin, who is one of Scotland's oldest women, cared for her daughter until she was 104 and lived an active life in Lanark until her health began to decline 6 months ago. South Lanarkshire Council initially told her family it could not provide carers for Isa, but put a last-minute plan in place weeks later after being questioned by the BBC. Ian Hamilton went to meet her and her son Alan before the council agreed to provide carers.
So would you tell them you're away on holiday in July? She was down at Torquay, weren't you?
Oh yes, and been down there a few times.
We take you over to Brixham,
Lovely.
get a fish supper,
Yes,
and a wee cider,
that's
and a
right.
cone, and then you come home.
Isa Martin, at 107, is among the oldest people in Scotland. Isa cared for her own daughter for decades after she contracted polio.
You've done well. Well, he needs a wee bit of help now.
But now, when Isa needs care, the council can't do the same for her.
Take your tea when it's warm.
Alan?
Hello, Ian, how are we?
OK, thank you. Can I come in?
You can come in.
Her son, Alan Martin, has been told by South Lanarkshire Council there is a care package approved, but not the staff to deliver it. Tell me about the process. How long has it taken to get to this point?
Well, I think it's almost 6 weeks before we actually asked for it. It's been passed, but they haven't got the resources to deal with it.
So the money's there, it's been approved.
It's been approved, yes.
But there's nobody to deliver it.
I'm not asking for a lot of help, just we need somebody to come and get her out of bed in the morning and wash her, to get dressed, get washed and dressed, and to get put back to bed at night.
What age were you when you stopped working as a carer?
Just about, what, 3 years. 3 years.
3 years ago. So you were 104 and you were still caring for your daughter?
Uh-huh.
Wow. Now you need a little bit of help, don't you?
Of course I do.
Yeah. Okay. Money's there. It's been approved. We shared Isa's story with the charity Age Scotland to get their view.
People deserve better than that. People can't afford to wait. They don't have time. They need that quality of life, and I feel really sorry for her and her family that they're going to have to wait so long.
Have you had a case as extreme as hers before at that age?
Look, she's one of the oldest people I've encountered who's waiting for social care. But there's this moment at 107 years old that she needs a hand, and we're not able to give it to her quick enough, and I think that's shocking.
In a statement, South Lanarkshire Council told us,
while it has taken longer than any of those involved would have wanted, we have now been able to arrange the care that Mrs Martin needs, and this has begun. Care at home services across Scotland are under considerable pressure, and this is the case in South Lanarkshire. Securing support for those with more complex needs can be particularly challenging in rural areas.
Wash your biscuits down.
For Isa and Alan, in their time of need, they feel their trust has been broken and they feel abandoned.
That's what happens when you're 107. You've been a lot of places a few times, isn't it?
Ian Hamilton reporting there, and Graham's here to tell us what's coming up on the 7 on the BBC Scotland channel. You're going to be talking about this a bit more.
Yeah, we're discussing how common an experience this is. OK, there aren't many 107-year-olds around, but it is an issue that faces a lot of families. So we're speaking to Age UK in Scotland about the nationwide picture. It's a time of year when collisions between deer and traffic on the A9 becomes a particular issue, particularly with the dark evenings. We'll be talking about how the campaign's been stepped up this year. And I don't know if down your street, if there's lots of spectacular Halloween displays.
Well, if there are, I'm not in. So.
You've avoided it this year, yeah. We'll be speaking to a family in East Lothian who have a spectacular display that I could only describe like a Halloween theme park. And as you can imagine, children from miles around will be visiting. So we'll find out all about that.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Graham. Tonight's main news again. An abusive husband who murdered his wife in a violent knife attack after accusing her of having an affair has been jailed for at least 21 years. Mom Patty Dodo Isaacs stabbed mother of 3 Nasso Isaacs at their home in North Berwick on New Year's Day last year.
And still to come in the sport, Hampden gets set for the League Cup semi-finals, while Murrayfield prepares for Scotland's opening match in the Autumn Nations Series.
Now, it may have been a soggy run-up to Guising in some parts this evening, but that is unlikely to dampen the sugar-fuelled enthusiasm of children across Scotland as they head out for Halloween. Recent figures suggest the amount many of us spend on celebrating continues to rise, what with decorations, costumes and lights, although at a slower rate than in recent years. Our reporter Gillian Sharp found for many, Halloween interest is undimmed.
This corner plot in Glasgow's Drum Chapel is a community focus this Halloween, taking something like 2 weeks to put all of this up. a labour of love for local woman Sandra Miles and others. She's been buying decorations for years, and that can get expensive.
My banjo skeletons, they were also £200. I've got interactive witches, they were £450. They came all the way from America. There's a lot of decorations that cost a lot of money, but the impact's worth it.
Last year there were hundreds of people and queues round the block. They also raise money for charity.
Whenever you hear the screams of the children with delight, some terror. The adults as well, like, they think I'm bonkers sometimes because of the amount of decorations that we go to and we put out and things like that. But generally, as a community, that it brings a lot of pleasure.
Well, thanks for coming to Edinburgh. Thanks for booking on the tour.
And Halloween is good for tourism too, with Visit Scotland saying visits to spooky-themed attractions like historic graveyards, haunted castles and ghost tours like this one in Edinburgh have risen in recent years.
Well, we're from Arizona and there's nothing old or spooky, so we're here for old and spooky.
I think with the kids it's just a Harry Potter kind of feel about the whole city, and just walking around it is just lovely. It's gorgeous.
For a very long time now, the sheer number of people that we get is just grown exponentially, and yeah, a lot of people come here now just to experience the ghostly things that happen in the underground, and that's where a lot of our traffic comes from.
At home, it's now decorations for many, like here in West Kilbride. And in Inverness town centre, we gathered some Halloween chat.
Absolutely love Halloween. It is my favourite. I wish we had 2 a year.
It's this blow-up alien. It makes it look like you're getting carried by an alien and we're just going to have dead body face paint.
At this Glasgow school, children are allowed to dress up if they want to on this spookiest day of the year. And excitement, as it is on streets across the country, is high. Gillian Sharp, reporting Scotland.
Well, we have our very own Geyser. Lewis is here. What have you come as?
I've come as a grey, neutral, boring sports presenter.
Sports presenter's fine. No problem at all.
I've got a Halloween joke though
go
for
on
you.
then.
What's a ghost's favourite fruit, Laura?
I don't know.
A blueberry.
Right, on you go. Back to the sport.
On we go. Hello there. Hampden will host 2 fascinating matches this weekend as the League Cup semi-finals take place. First up tomorrow evening, it's Jens Bertha-Lascau's Motherwell against Stephen Robinson's St Mirren. Then on Sunday, Martin O'Neill and Danny Rule will have a derby to contend with early into their stints in charge at Celtic and Rangers respectively. Our sports news correspondent Chris McLaughlin looks ahead.
It's been a strange season so far in Scottish football for reasons that we will come to. But if you substitute strange for unpredictable, that can throw up opportunities. A very intriguing weekend awaits here at the National Stadium. First up tomorrow under the lights with a 5:30 kick-off, Motherwell, St Mirren. This was Motherwell's Hampden warm-up, a convincing 2-0 win over Dundee United.
This is the first cup we are participating in this season, and it means a lot for us to see how far we can go.
St Mirren's confidence is also sky high after halting the Hearts juggernaut with a draw in Paisley.
It's an occasion that the fans enjoy. For me, the players have to concentrate, treat it as a normal game, and you get the end product by winning, and then it becomes a really big day.
On Sunday, there won't be a seat to be had for one of the most intriguing Old Firm encounters in years. 2 clubs with 2 new managers trying their best to recover from off-field turmoil. Celtic are trying to move forward by turning back the clock. Martin O'Neill's side beat Falkirk 4-0 this week, and he was just happy with the win.
I'm not here. I haven't seen Celtic often enough this season live to make criticisms of the side. Absolutely not. And you know that team have been winning. So at the end of it all, it's just nice to win.
Whisper it, but their rivals may well be turning a corner under their new boss. This was their midweek win over Hibs.
To be part of such a game, it's all or nothing. Yeah, you win, you come in the final, you lose, you're out. I think everything is on for a great game.
So 4 teams with reasons to be confident. This weekend, 2 will take one step closer to the first trophy of the season. Chris McLaughlin, reporting Scotland.
So that's the League Cup covered. There's also 3 Premiership matches at 3 o'clock tomorrow, including league leaders Hearts, who could go 9 points clear. But before all of that, BBC Scotland has some Championship action to offer you this evening as 2 former Celtic midfielders go head-to-head in the dugout. Jonathan Sutherland has more.
Forget celebrity traitors. Big Dog Theory comes to the Championship this evening. How could it not? With Scott Brown and Neil Lennon in the dugout. Scott Brown's Ayr United currently 3rd in the table, but Neil Lennon's Dunfermline can leapfrog them with a victory this evening. We believe Neil Lennon will be in the dugout this evening. We've not heard of a ban, despite the fact he slaughtered one of the referees last weekend as they lost to Ross County, who will cop the flak this evening. As always, the cauldron threatening to bubble over in the Championship. Join us 7:30 on BBC Scotland and iPlayer.
A fascinating night there indeed. Now to rugby, and Scotland's all-time record try scorer Duhan van der Merwe will earn his 50th cap when he runs out at Murrayfield tomorrow against the USA. The South African-born winger says he wants to leave a Scotland legacy. To be fair, he has already done that. 32 tries in 49 games, 6 of them against England, including a hat-trick in last year's Six Nations, a tournament he wants to be able to say he's won when he finally retires. But what are his favourite moments in a Scotland jersey so far?
Any game against England is a special game, but now there's obviously been a couple. Back when in 2021, my first Six Nations, that try against France in the 84th minute was pretty special. Scoring on my debut against Georgia. There's been a lot of special memories over the last couple of 5 years.
Love that answer. Anything against England is a highlight for Duhan.
Absolutely. I'm also South African born, but I don't have 50 caps for Scotland. Never mind.
Exactly.
Thanks, Liz. Now, before we get to the weekend weather, here's the tale of how a bricklayer became a BBC Scotland star. More than 2 decades ago, Dumbarton man James Lacey was hired to help build the exterior set for the long-running soap River City, including the iconic Tall Ship pub. James was diagnosed with cancer earlier this year, and to give him a lift, his son surprised him with a chance to be part of the show.
Yeah, both looking nice.
Started apprenticeship at 16, building walls, houses, about 50 years ago. So I think it was the year 2001 we got a phone call to come here. Didn't know what it was going to be, and it was you get drawings to build walls and houses. You would think it was an actual pub. Been built from scratch, it was amazing. I always remember our lady, she was in charge of everybody in here. She came out shouting at us, stop, stop, and we're into the job for about 3 hours. She says, no, I want something that's been built in the 1930s. It looks too modern. We scraped out some of the mortar and she was over the moon and that was it. It's completely different from the inside you would expect. It's just a shell now, isn't it? A lot of folk would be shocked if they seen the inside it from then the outside. It just, you never think it's the same place. The way things are going, I don't think I will be back at work. On the 4th of April, I was to go up to the Beatson. Went up there and they told me I had cancer. I don't think I could handle work. You see other folk worse than yourself, so I'm actually quite lucky, I think.
Okay, from the top.
Oh. The last time we were in here was we actually finished building. They took us in here to show us and we had a pint. They were telling us it was they put lemon in the water. So you get a wee tang off when you drink a pint, you want to just drink water. We've been in the filming in the pub quite a few times. And that's strange because you can't make a noise, you're just moving your lips and obviously you don't know what the other person's saying to you, they don't know what you're saying to them. We've done a couple of walk-on parts, so I was quite surprised we get that. It felt fun at the time, but you get into it, it was quite good actually, believe it or not, I enjoyed it. It's been great coming back, I mean, the wee tour of the place, it's amazing. Brings back a lot of memories, good memories.
Cut it there.
Cut it there.
That was James Lacey. And time now for the weather with Christopher. For those out on the streets with excitable children, How's the weather for them, at least?
Well, actually, it's drying up, and it is really quite mild, spookily mild, in fact. 16 degrees in Edinburgh today. For many, it was rather autumnal. Lots of leaves on the ground. Thank you, Laura. Good evening to you. Yes, it was pretty autumnal fare across many parts of the country today, with cloud and rain, but it was really quite mild. Now, you can see on the satellite and radar image this area of cloud and rain that's been working its way north and eastwards across the country. And if you were stuck underneath that rain band today, it really was quite heavy at times, wasn't it? However, if you're heading out for any Halloween events in the next wee while, this is where the rain is currently, situated towards the north and northeast, just a few showers following on. So generally, it's drying up, and it's still relatively mild as well. So over the next few hours, that rain eventually leaves Shetland. It's dry for a time, but then through the early hours, another band of heavy rain moves in, and some pretty strong winds with that too. Temperatures at their lowest, 6 to 9 Celsius, but actually tending to climb as we head through towards first thing tomorrow. This weekend, low pressure is situated nearby. That means it's frequent rain or showers, and temperatures coming back down to close to average for the time of year. So first thing, we've got the overnight rain still with us tomorrow morning. That will clear away, moving north and east. So by mid to late morning, it's an improving picture. We've lost that heavy rain and replaced it with bright spells, but also frequent showers, which could be on the heavy side, coming in on west-southwesterly winds. Here's a snapshot mid-afternoon. You'll notice temperature-wise, it's a good bit lower than today. So rather than mid-teens, around 10 or 11 Celsius. Longer gaps between the showers in the east. This is where it will be driest and brightest. In the west, though, those showers will be frequent. Perhaps the odd rumble of thunder with them at times too. And you can see the morning rain still with us there in Orkney and pulling in towards Shetland tomorrow evening, and we hold on to that feed of showers moving in off the Atlantic and a period of heavier rain overnight. That takes us to Sunday, and once again low pressure nearby, so it will be unsettled. The bulk of the shower activity through parts of Argyll and the Highlands and Islands, drier and brighter further south and east. Temperatures again around 9 to 11 Celsius. Next week, for the first full week of November, low pressure is with us. That means it will be unsettled with weather fronts and troughs, showers and rain, but also we're scooping up some milder air. So whilst it will be wet at times, it will be relatively mild. Temperatures closer to what we saw today, in fact. So this is the outlook. You can see it's fairly unsettled on the icons there. A few bright spells, but equally some showers or rain. Temperatures average at the weekend. Next week, though, back into the low, if not mid-teens. That's the forecast for now.
OK, Chris, thank you very much indeed. Now, tonight's main news again. An abusive husband has been jailed for at least 21 years for murdering his wife. Mompati Dodo Isaacs stabbed Naso Isaacs at their North Berwick home after accusing her of having an affair. A 21-year-old Dundee man who phoned in repeated bomb threats to Kirkwall Airport in Orkney has been jailed for 4 years. Ross Buchan forced the closure of the airport in January. Graham Stewart is here with your late news at around 10:30. Until then, from everyone on the team, do enjoy your evening and have a great weekend. Bye-bye.